James when you found out he had GSD?
He was 5 months old.
What was your first reaction when you found out James was diagnosed with GSD?
I was kind of relieved actually because he'd been diagnosed with something else that turned out to be wrong, and we always thought that he might have GSD. So we had kind of already done a lot of reading on it, and we were familiar with it to some degree, so it wasn't a complete shock. It was kind of a relief to finally know how to treat him properly.
What hopes do you have for James in finding a cure?
They're pretty close to finding a cure for one of the other types of GSD, which is similar to his. They're supposed to start, they've cured it in dogs, and they're supposed to start human trials hopefully next year with adults. So I've heard that within maybe like 10 years or so there should be a cure. You know, you don't want to get your hopes up too much, but I think that definitely before he graduates high school that there will be a cure for him.
How different is it raising James than it was raising Eva?
It's very different. Like with Eva, she was sleeping through the night at 7 weeks. With James, like he has to eat basically even throughout the night. So he never like is fully just left alone to sleep all night. Also, like with Eva, we could just kind of let her play as much as she wanted and eat whatever she wanted. And with James, he can't eat fruit. He can't eat anything with milk. He can't eat anything with sugar. And we have to limit the amount of time that he plays because it burns his blood sugar, his glucose, and so his sugar will drop very quickly. So we have to be very careful with everything he does.
Okay.
What is your biggest fear you have while raising a child with GSD?
It's not so hard. It's hard, but it's not so bad now that he has a G-tube. So before he had the G-tube, if his blood sugar dropped, we had to take him to the hospital and have an IV with sugar solution put into him. And so we had to call 911 and go in the ambulance, and it was really scary. Now, like, we have a way to rescue him at home, but it's still scary. Like if he would ever drop to the point where his sugar wouldn't come back up, and then we'd have to take him to the hospital, and just like them not being able to get an IV into him, and there are just a lot of things that could go wrong. But I guess those are my worries, just like not being able to help him fast enough, because if you don't help them fast enough, they can have seizures or even go into a coma. So.
Do you look at James' disease as a disability or just another reason why he's unique?
Well, really, if he's being treated properly and under good control, it won't hold him back in life. Like, there'll be certain things that he can't do, like maybe like go out to the middle of nowhere and go camping where there's like no help or anything nearby, because that would be really dangerous for him. But like in terms of sports and things that he wants to do and activities, he can do them. He just will have to monitor himself very carefully and make sure that his blood sugar is stable. I mean, he can go to school, he can have a job. There are people that I've talked to online who are adults living with GSD, and they have like children of their own and families of their own. So it really won't, I mean, it is a disability in the sense that he really has to monitor himself carefully, but he can do almost anything that any normal person without the disease can do, just with extra precaution.
How is James doing today?
He's doing very well today. His blood levels are very close to normal. His liver has actually been shrinking. Part of the GSD is that their liver gets enlarged, so his liver is shrinking back down to a normal size. He actually started taking his first steps last week, so he's starting to walk a little bit. So he's like right on track with where he should be. And if you saw him, you wouldn't know that he had anything wrong with him. So he's doing very well.
What plans do you have for the future with expanding your family?
Not positively sure yet, but we have 1 in 4 chance of any other kids having GSD, so I don't know if that's something that we want to handle because it's a lot to take on. But we would like to have probably another child, and we might even adopt if we decide not to have one of our own. So there's some different options available.
Thank you.
You're welcome.